Hi, my name is Skyler Holobach, and welcome to Enjoy Your Time Off, and other things I wish people would stop saying to me. A layoff survival guide for high-performing women. To give you a very quick intro, I spent over a decade building systems that made companies work. I thought, if I made myself indispensable, I could avoid being laid off. And now, I have the Georgia Department of Labor phone number saved in my contacts. So let's hop into today's bad advice. This is a great time to reinvent yourself. No. Thank you, but no. The subtext of reinvent yourself is that the previous version wasn't good enough. That getting laid off is evidence that something about you needs to change. That this is your chrysalis moment, your pivot, your moment to emerge as a butterfly. I don't need reinventing. What I need, and probably what you need, is to remember that. Because a layoff has one hell of a way of making you forget. Here's what happens after a layoff, especially if you're a high performer. Every rejection email feels like they hate you personally. And at first, you know it's not personal, and it's pretty easy to shrug off and even laugh at this company that clearly doesn't know how awesome you are and how high-performing and great you would be at that role. And then you start to accumulate them, one after another, and each one chips away the thing you thought you knew about yourself, which is that you are very, very good about what you do. And after enough rejections, you start believing it. You start completely second-guessing your resume, your experience, your entire career narrative. You start wondering if maybe you weren't as good as you thought you were, and maybe the layoff wasn't just a business decision. Maybe it was a referendum on who you are as a person and some sort of signal where everyone can see something you can't. That spiral is a lie. I will say it to you again. That spiral is a lie. But it is a very convincing lie, and it gets louder every time your inbox delivers another, we decide to move forward with other candidates that more closely match our needs. One thing that helps with that, make a rule to send those emails. I recommend doing like the no reply at or the at emails.greenhouse or whatever straight into the trash. You don't need to see every rejection email. I don't think it's healthy. I'm friends with a former CEO of Heidrick & Struggles, which, if you're not familiar, is one of the top executive search firms in the world. This is a person who spent his career placing C-suite executives, who has seen hundreds of incredibly accomplished people go through exactly what I was going through. And he took one look at me and basically said, "Hey, I know you. You are going to spiral. So here's what I need you to do. Every day, write down one thing you are very damn good at. That's it. That's the exercise. One thing every day. And it can really be anything. But here's the catch. When you write about what you were good at work, I don't want to hear about your tasks. I don't want to hear I ran stand-ups or I managed a roadmap or I created Jira tickets or whatever. Those are things you did. I want to know what happened because you did them. So I ran stand-ups becomes I turned a broken team into a shipping machine. Or I managed a roadmap becomes I took a forward directive from the CEO and turned it into a product that became the company's entire enterprise play. I need you to take in the difference. Tasks describe labor. Outcomes describe impact. And when you're in the middle of a rejection spiral, you need to be reminded of your impact, not your labor. Your labor is what got you commoditized onto a spreadsheet. Your impact is what made you truly irreplaceable, even if your company was way too short-sighted to see it. Now, you can also write about traits you have, skills you possess, whatever it is that lifts you up and makes you special in some way. I just want to put a special rule in place for work tasks, because that's also partially an exercise in telling your own story. And I want to tell you what that exercise actually felt like to do, because honestly, it felt pretty terrible at first. So the first thing I wrote down was, I am very damn good at finding the root of a problem and then solving it. I love problem solving. Puzzles are my jam. And that felt okay. It felt true. But it also felt small and weird and sort of pointless. And then day 2 was harder. And day 3 was even harder than that. Because your brain, the one that has been so helpfully marinating in rejection emails and cortisol, really fights you on this. In my case, it said, well, sure, but if you're so good at puzzles, why didn't you solve the issue of not getting laid off in the first place, huh? Which is like absurd. But my brain kind of sucked then. It was more interested in confirming the story it had already been telling me, which is that I wasn't enough. But I kept going. And for me, the turning point was when I looked down and realized I had filled an entire notebook page. A full notebook page of things I am very damn good at. And I looked at this page and something clicked. Because it's really, really easy to dismiss like a single line. Your brain can look at that and be like, okay, you're good at puzzles, who cares? But when there's an entire page looking at you in your own handwriting, this does have to be handwriting, of specific outcomes you produced and problems you solved and systems you built from nothing and skills you're really strong in, it's hard for your brain to pick out and argue with you. That page is the mirror. The layoff shattered it, and this exercise rebuilds it, one line at a time. Now, this exercise tends to be especially hard for high-performing women, and I don't want to gloss over that. We are trained from very early on to attribute our success to effort rather than ability. We say, I worked hard, instead of I'm talented. We say, I got lucky, or I had a great team, instead of I was the reason that project shipped. We deflect compliments, we share credit, we minimize. And in a professional context, that instinct can be useful, within reason, because nobody likes the person who takes all the credit. But in the context of a layoff, that instinct is poison. Because this exercise requires you to look at yourself and say clearly and without hedging, I did this. I was good at this. I was the reason this was successful. And your brain is going to try and talk you out of writing it down. You are going to want to add qualifiers. You are going to want to mention the team. You're going to want to try and soften it in some way. No. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. I don't care if that reference is outdated. This page is not a performance review. No one else is going to read it and say, wow, who is she? She's really arrogant. No one's going to read it if you don't want them to. This is for you. I need you to write it like you mean it. So, here is your assignment. Get a notebook. A physical notebook. Not your phone, not a Google Doc, not a Notion doc. Paper. It needs to be paper. Your body needs to feel you writing the words on the page. It matters so much. The video is long enough. I'm actively resisting explaining the neuroscience behind it, but please trust me, paper is non-negotiable. Okay? So, get your paper and write down one thing you are very damn good at. Frame it as an outcome. What changed because you were in the room? What exists now that wouldn't exist if you hadn't built it? What problem got solved because you were the one solving it? If you are stuck on day one, start where I started. What kind of problems do you love solving? What's the thing that lights you up? The thing you would do for free if money weren't a factor. Not because you should do it for free, not what I'm saying, but because the thing you love doing is generally the thing you're best at. And if you get to a day where you really can't think of anything, write down something from a previous day in different words. Because there's more than one way to describe the same impact. And sometimes the second or even third way you describe it really does help get it into your brain. You don't need to become someone new. You need to remember the person you were before the layoff made you forget. I would highly encourage you to start your list today. I'm serious. It's going to feel weird and uncomfortable and cringe. And I kind of just need you to embrace that feeling. Just embrace the cringe. You will be better off for it. Next up, we're going to talk about time. Specifically, what to do with it now that your calendar is empty and you can feel yourself lightly losing your marbles. I'll see you there. Thank you for watching.